Well, we have not been in very good form. I think it's safe to say that. Obviously, a disappointing loss to Aston Villa, which I talked about. But we move forward because we have Bayern Munich away at the Allianz. And look, I'm definitely nowhere near as confident as I was a week ago. I thought we would face them at the Emirates and get the win, and then we would have been able to maybe, take a draw or even possibly a loss. But now we have to win. We have to go to the Allianz and we have to win in order to progress. And I don't know if we'll be able to do that. I'll get into the predictions and everything, but obviously it's going to be a tough game. I do not know when the last time was that we won there. If we've ever won there, I doubt we have. But it's a challenge that I think we can do. I'm definitely, over the past few hours, I've gotten a little bit more confident than I have been over the past week, even before the Villa game. But yeah, it'll definitely be a tough game. I doubt we'll lose 5-1 or anything like that unless they just completely don't show up. Hopefully it'll be a contest, an actual game. And yeah, I'm super nervous, but also very excited because we can beat Bayern Munich. Now for the lineup. I thought that the lineup we used against Aston Villa on the weekend was a disgrace. I hope Arteta doesn't even try to do something like that. Why change a winning system? So here's what I think it should be. The goalkeeper should be David Raya, obviously. That's not changing. The centre-backs, Gabriel and Saliba. Yep, Ben White as the right-back. None of that's really ever going to change. That 4 in the back is not going to change, but the left-back. Kiwior should not start because he was dreadful in the first leg. I do not want to see Zinchenko touch the pitch, but he will. I think Arteta's probably going to go with one of those two options because for some reason he's just not been giving Tomiyasu minutes. He hasn't been playing him enough, and I think Tomiyasu should start at left back. I don't know what the fitness is around Timber. I doubt he'll play this game. Definitely won't start. Hopefully he'll be back soon. If we make it past this game, he'll be useful. The midfield should be the same midfield that we've had for all this time. It should be Rice and Odegaard as the two, central midfielders. Odegaard obviously being more of a presser and a creator. And then our 6 should be Jorginho. I would be okay with Thomas Partey, but that would be a risk. I feel like Jorginho, he wasn't great in the other game. Maybe if we take him off decently early or start Thomas Partey. Either way, I feel like Jorginho would be the safer option. And then Partey would be the risk. Or we could do what I said we should do last time of swapping Rice and Jorginho. Playing Jorginho as more of an 8 and then Rice as the 6. I feel like that is probably the best possible midfield that we could have for this game, just because I don't know if Jorginho has the legs. For the attack, Saka on the right wing. He was limping at the end of the Villa game, but he always does that when he plays bad. He gets a lot of shit for it, and I love Bukayo Saka, but every time he has a poor performance, he limps off the pitch. I swear to God. Havertz is the striker. He was poor against Villa, but he is not a midfielder. For fuck's sake. Hopefully he's in for a big game. It's his first game in Germany in I don't know how long. And then our left winger should be Martinelli. Trossard, whenever he starts, he's poor. He's always poor when he starts. He could come out with a clutch goal off the bench, and the same thing with Jesus. But neither of them were good enough against Aston Villa. And I just think that Martinelli, he should get another shot. So a very similar lineup to what we had in the first leg. The only difference is Tomiyasu instead of Kiwior. And yeah, we're just going to hope that they can play like they have been for so long, so consistently before the last 7 days. Now for the form. Both teams are in somewhat decent form. It's very similar. Arsenal are in our last 5 games have 2 wins, 2 draws and a loss. So a little bit more towards the winning side. Obviously, our last 7 days has not been good. We're coming off a home loss to Aston Villa where we didn't score. But we know how good this team can be. And at our best, we are better than Bayern Munich. We can beat Bayern Munich. It is in Germany, as I said. But hopefully we can revert back to that form. Because if we have a good performance against Bayern, that'll be huge for our confidence. And it may even help us in the Premier League title race. But we're not going to think about that. We're just going to think about Bayern. Their form has not been amazing. Obviously, they beat Köln on the weekend. So if I'm butchering the name. At home, a 2-0 win. Their last home game before that was a 2-0 loss to Dortmund. But I already talked about that before. They've got 2 wins, 2 losses and a draw. So very similar to our form, except we have a draw where they have a loss. So in terms of form, both teams are in similar positions. But Bayern Munich just lost out on the league on the weekend. Bayer Leverkusen clinched it with a huge 5-0 win. And big up to them. They have won the league. And that just means that we have a chance to stop Harry Kane from winning a trophy. Imagine if Harry Kane's season ends against us at home. If we come into the Allianz Arena and end Bayern Munich's season, it would be absolutely incredible, because that will mean that they literally can't win a trophy because they can't win the league. They were knocked out of the cup, all that, against, Saarbrücken. And that would be their season over. They would just be trying to keep their top 4 spot, which if they don't get a top 4 spot, that would be absolutely insane. They're currently sitting second or third. They're actually very close to being outside the top 4, I think. If I was to just check how Bayern are doing. Yes, they are second, but they're level on points with Stuttgart. Okay, no, they are much... I don't know why I heard that they were levels clear, but ahead of 5th. Or why they weren't, sorry. They're 6 points ahead of Dortmund. So it is possible that they could miss out. But not likely. They're probably going to just maintain their top 4 spot, get back in the Champions League. But hopefully that can be all they do for the rest of the season. Yeah, it just has not been a good season for Bayern. It's been a decent season for Arsenal. Form, they've been very similar. But we know that we are the better team on our day. Hopefully that's the Arsenal that turns up. But obviously I would normally use this time to talk about the head-to-head record between the two teams. I already did it in the video for the first leg. But also, it's not really that relevant since the last game was the first time we played them in 7 years. So what I'm instead going to do is just talk a little bit about what our situation is going into this game, how the first leg went, all that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, it was a disappointing result. It was at home and we weren't able to get the win. We did actually snatch it in the end. It was looking like we were probably going to lose, which would have been an absolute disaster. But Trossard was able to get a goal. Our defensive performance was really horrible in the first half. And at the end of the day, that's what ended up costing us the game. It was that poor defensive performance in the first half. Harry Kane scored, which isn't good. What is good, and I'm going to talk about the injury situations, but Serge Gnabry, who scored in that game, is out. I don't think Bayern were particularly amazing in that game. They obviously were the better side, but they didn't... I don't think they performed amazingly, which I wasn't expecting them to. I felt like they were going to sit off the ball a little bit. Although in this leg, Bayern are going to go for it. I don't think Thomas Tuchel, looking at how we played in the game, plus they're at home, I think this is really going to be a battle. And the defense is going to be the most important thing. If we can be defensively solid, then odds are we are probably going to get a goal if we're playing good footy. We literally just have to be at our best and defend well, and then hopefully a bit of luck can go in our way. We can get a goal and go through. I think that's going to be how we win this game. If both teams go head on at the Allianz, we are going to fall short, because Bayern, they've got the attacking quality. And even though their defense, it's not amazing, but we're going to have to hold on. We are. And if we have a defensive performance like we did in the first leg, there is no chance we go through. If we, in terms of stats, like, we did have more of the ball. I don't know if that's going to be what happens. We had a lower XG. They had, like, we overperformed our XG. But we had more shots than them, which is very interesting. They had, like, almost an entire expected goal ahead of us in 5 less shots, which just shows that when they had opportunities, they really did, like, they were good chances. So, yeah, the first leg didn't go our way, but hopefully it isn't the same and we are able to defend well, maybe get a goal. Even if we concede, it just means that our attack will have to be even better. And yeah, I am not very confident, but we can go through, I'm telling you. Now for the injuries. It actually does go in our favour because Bayern are kind of royally fucked in terms of injuries. There was a doubt on whether Leroy Sané was going to play because he did pick up a knock. However, Thomas Tuchel has cleared him to play in this game. He will be playing, which definitely is something that goes in Bayern's favour. But as I mentioned before, there will be no Serge Gnabry, which he scored against us in the first leg, which is good. So it's good that he's out. There's no Kingsley Coman. And there's no Alphonso Davies. He's not injured. He's suspended for this game due to him picking up a second yellow in the first leg. And that definitely does help us because our only injury at the moment is Timber. We've gotten all of our players back. They're all fit. Hopefully we don't pick up any injuries in this game because that could prohibit the rest of our season. But overall, the injuries are the one thing that I think goes in our favour in terms of this game. If Bayern don't go through, it'll be because they don't have enough to get through our rock solid defense if they are as good as I know that they can be. Obviously, a lot of our players are in for some big games. William Saliba, Gabriel, the whole defense needs a bounce back. And if they can somehow manage to come to the Allianz and keep a clean sheet and send us through, it will just be incredible for the agendas that I'm trying to spread. Obviously, the rest of the team, they could also use it as well. Declan Rice in particular hasn't been amazing over his past 2 games. If he can really boss the Bayern midfield around, that'll help him. He's in for a big game. Odegaard as well. I thought he was actually fantastic in both of the games that we played. I feel like he was our best player in both of them by a mile. And yeah, hopefully he'll manage to, play well again. His pressing's been amazing. Kai Havertz as well. But yeah, the injuries do go in our favour. We have a lot of players that will be aching for a performance. And yeah, it's just a question of, will these guys have the mentality to come off that loss against Villa? Back-to-back games where we didn't win at home. We have not won at home in our last 2 games, which is very alarming for a team that's in as good form as us, even though they are difficult teams that we played. Does this team have the mentality to really bounce back? Because if we can go through, then I feel like that really... It'll mean that our season just gets back on track. And we probably beat Wolves, probably beat Chelsea, and who knows, maybe we can manage to win the league. Now let's end it with a prediction. I don't know where to begin. I actually have got no idea what to do for this prediction because I'm not sure. I think the one thing that definitely does go in our favour is that there's no away goals rule anymore, because if there was, we would need to win this game. Whereas technically, we don't need to win in terms of like the scoreline. We could get like a 1-1 draw, a 0-0 draw, and then maybe take it to penalties and win. I think do we have the upper hand penalties? I don't even think we do, because even though Bayern do have some attacking players out, Manuel Neuer is a better goalkeeper than Raya, and I would much more back him to save more penalties than Raya. But Arsenal have been very good at penalties this season. Like, I don't even think we have missed a single penalty all season, even with shootouts, including the Community Shield game, which is very good in our... Like, it definitely goes in our favour. But still, do I want to be confident? Fuck it. I'm gonna be confident. I think that this team can win. And I'm gonna tip this. I'm gonna predict this with my heart instead of my head. I'm gonna go with a 1-0 win away from home. I'm gonna say that Martinelli gets a winning goal in the 78th minute, and the defense is so rock solid. I can see this being a defensive masterclass from Mikel Arteta. I can see that. And if we win, that's how it's going to happen. Come on, you Gunners. Let's go to the semis and get our season back on track after a really shit 7 days.